Hell to Florida. Hell to hell to Liz Cheney. Not Donald brain dead, brainwashed, brainless Trump. Or not butthead, bonehead Donald Trump. You know. Yeah, Liz Cheney is my kind of woman. Everybody, I just want you to know that for a Republican, I mean, anytime you have a woman that's a Republican opposing that dickhead prick, closet racist redneck, closet Klan or closet neo-Nazi, former ex, twice impeached, but then nevertheless, unfortunately, likewise, twice acquitted Republican President Donald Trump. Now, you know that's some kind of a woman. That's a woman that would be the apple to any non-gay male's eyes. Being a whatsoever race, whatever walk of life, faction of society, or lifestyle preference, who is not a homo or who is not a cocksucking closet faggot. Hold it down. www.godhatesfags.com. Well, so I say, and speaking on those matters, that's on those matters, man, that come to mind. You know, bear with me, I'm not finished. Man, I'm not feeling myself at the moment. Is what I admit to. I know I'm not finished with this, the social media broadcast or video what the president want to mind us yet, and do disregard what you're hearing in the background. Just another one of these creepy as well as crazy proverbial neighbors from hell among the dime a dozen public nuisance problem neighbors who would compliment the old saying that misery loves company for likes of characters as they are, who would, usually quite regularly, daily and or nightly, violate their own apartment room leases, and at the same time, all the while they would disrespect the rights and privileges of their fellow neighbors of some or such other tenants or residents. Yeah, that's all that you were hearing. That is, you all were hearing. You all was hearing, or whatever I've said. That's the correct, proper standard English grammar of the American dialect, or some such quality and quantities or not. So I say, man, I never did, claim to be an English major of the American dialect. Yeah. Anyway, bear with me while I try to get this out because I've been feeling just. Lord have mercy. Words cannot describe how I have been feeling quite up under the weather. As the president given moment time, you all. My sinuses is bothering me, and regardless of whatnot, I do have, an official 100% medical diagnosis of a breathing disorder. Well, I know I have a partial one. That much I do know. Where from time to time I'm having to take, medical prescriptions and supplemented with over-the-counter drugs and home remedies. And for this day, for some reason or other, the day before I was feeling okay. Then all of a sudden, I'm having not just quite, but so much difficulty breathing, catching my breath. And all the while, I have to listen to this one particular neighbor from hell cocksucker or faggoty, or possibly worse yet, closet faggot, idiot, imbecile, ignoramus, or imbecile, or moron, and or a stupid little dumb cough continue to go about with the same, well, as he is a sicko or psycho likewise. Yes, as he continued to go about with his regular daily and nightly nonsense, attempting to make my life a living damn hell. So I say, and speaking upon those matters now to come to mind. But then, not that I meant to stray from the original topic of discussion, or should I say, one of the original topics of discussion, because I was speaking upon one thing and or another, you know. Well, especially as a pagan on time, in due regard in reference to that being of the title for this particular present social media broadcast video, or to be associated with some and such. As well, if you look at it from one point of view, whereas as I would type in the title, it would be up above. Once I get completely through with the broadcast, it would be down below. Is what I meant to say. Okay. And whereas it's like speaking upon what this dickhead prick Donald Trump had did to this courageous woman who represents the same political party of the Republicans, whereas he had her ousted from a political position, being because she spoke out against him. She spoke against the Republican Party line, which was a courageous thing to do, you know. And I admire that in a woman that wants to point out what is right and what is wrong, regardless of whatever the cost may be to a person, you know. Yes, I not only admire her in one regard, but I adore her in another. And you know, because if I if I would have had the chance to get together with her, I'm pretty much so certain that I would be like knocking boots with her behind closed and locked doors as her, you know, next and or new boyfriend, if not fiance, better yet to be said. You know, and show her my bedside manner, you know, of a much more intimate, sensual, sexual nature. You know, though there is something much more important or takes greater priority than just mere physical appearance. Then that does count for a lot, though not much as some, such as vice versa. Believe it or not, I am into a monogamous relationship. That is, I'm for that much more, though. At times, I want to put on my lab coat and experiment. And like I say, how you say, or as they would put it, sour my wild oats, especially as I have been dry for God only knows how much time has elapsed since the last time I hopped in the sack with a person of one of my peers representing the opposite sex, you know, and practically and or possibly a no strings attached kind of social environment that doesn't or don't necessarily have to lead in the direction of becoming a relationship, if you know what I mean. Though I would like to someday get married, you know. Yes. Anyway, though, getting back to some and such other, though, as I backtrack here. First of all, oh, did I give you all the basic intro as yet? Well, I kinda. I said how to for Liz Cheney, and that wasn't meant so far as to sound and sing. I mean, believe me, I'm not for any kind of socialist or communist garbage, you know. And whereas the word furor don't necessarily have to be given a negative connotation, because in the German language, the word furor just means, when it's translated in that of American English, it would be defined as meaning leader. You know, doesn't don't necessarily have to, have a negative connotation to be associated with a despot or dictator of a socialist or communist country or nation. And therefore, let me say all the same that, the salute, hell or sick hell, and that some of such doesn't necessarily have to be either associated with national socialism or communism. Okay. So, hey, hello, the halo, not hello. Rather, I will not any longer use that greeting word of hello, being because after I read this one pamphlet, leaflet, or whatever I have said, whatever one wants to call it, and whose author was of a male person of a different faith or religious beliefs, whereas he was saying, well, that's beside the point, regardless of whatever he was associated with. He was saying that, or affiliated or represented, he was saying that when a person greets another person with the greeting word of hello, you're literally actually wishing a curse upon that other person, being that because the root word, the greeting word of hello, is supposed to be that of hell, H-E, a couple of hockey sticks, H-E, and a couple of toothpicks, H-E, double L, H-E-L-L, being of which is to be defined as translated meaning a place of torment. And so I wouldn't want to wish somebody to go to damn hell regardless. Regardless of what I could be feeling like at the present, well, that's totally different. So I don't know. Or hopefully not even with me feeling like this here as I am now with symptoms. I'm feeling like pretty much so down in the dumps, and still I have to be bothered with this one proverbial neighbor from hell. Being one of the dime a dozen pollution problem neighbors acting yourself so obnoxious, and craziness is to do the same thing and expect different results. So I guess he wants to get to goose stepping as a means of attempting to provoke me to hostilities, to exacerbate the symptoms or condition of what I'm feeling like as of the present time. Feeling a little bit up under the weather, and as he himself continues to assume that he has a legit personal vendetta, a legit grudge match with me. But then I don't necessarily or don't have to go there with him, because any believer in God is supposed to have much greater power than that of some such power that an unbeliever or a non-believer, unsaved person could possibly assume that he or she has power to equate to that of the power given unto us as believers in God, our Lord and Savior, the Christ, the Messiah, Deliverer, the Lord of Lords, the King of Kings, the Prince of Peace. But then how you all doing? Well, hopefully everyone is doing at least okay, if not better yet to be said. All right, if not best of all to be said. To be feeling blessed and stressed, more blessed and stressed, too blessed to probably become or be stressed. You and yours are family, friends, hoping me and mine likewise as well are all the same. And be you card carrying members to my social media family or any visitors to that, being on my own personal channel and or chat room. But then if you do pay me a visit and want to become a participant of any of my social media broadcasts, or leave your comments whenever possible or available to do so, in that same or similar soul thought and a sense of word, then please feel free to do so. Just don't come upon my personal channel or into my personal chat room and or comment section for that matter, and then get to coming off like, some kind, sort of type of a negative internet troll and of an unsaved individual person. Then more than likely I will silence your chat first and foremost, and then second of all, if push comes to shove, if you continue to attempt to be persistent in attempting to trash that being my social media broadcast video channel in our chat room, then from there I will have to seriously contemplate that of considering to block you. And very few other persons, being of whom I block, are they permitted re-entry into my broadcast, because the majority of most who I block, they can never get back in. You know, it's a done deal. Whereas from there, I'll be like saying, okay, arrivederci, hasta la vista. Don't go away mad, just go away. Fini, be gone. Oh, it's like that, and that's the way it is. Like, I think I may have finally done a number on this one negative internet troll that was always popping up into my comment section, leaving his dinosaur turds wherever he felt as if it was so desperately serious of a need for him to do so. Some are such of a hater of a negative internet troll character that could possibly remind me of a proverbial name from hell, faggot. And as he went by the username of, I think it was, let me see, what was that? And no need, and no need, and no, yeah, and no need, and no need 18B for you. Yeah, that was a username, something like that. And whereas he was hiding behind a South Park cartoon male character's mug, or whereas he had that for his profile pic, you know. And I tried to tolerate him for as long as I could, being lenient with him, but yet each and every time it would more than seem like whenever he pop up into my comment section once again, he would sound and or seem even more like an obnoxious dinosaur turd of a brain dead, brainwashed, brainless, bonehead, butthead, stone age caveman character, being of whom would be called in a much more eloquent, or whatever I said, verbatim or rhetoric you know, as an uncivilized prehistoric Neanderthal. That's a fancy way of saying, and calling some such a jerk or a loser, brain dead, brainwashed, or brainless, bonehead, butthead, airhead. You know, I mean, he would come into my comment section and get the mouthing off, and 9 times out of 10, it would be more often than not in an obvious kind of way where it don't take a rocket scientist to figure out what he's saying. I mean, I can see if a negative internet troll was to pop into my comment section, but then be quite eloquent in one's vain attempt to diss me. But when you come into my comment section, and it's just so obvious and evident that you're a bonehead or butthead, you know, that has a mentality, a mindset, or man that's not worth 2 cents, then after a while, I'm gonna lose interest with your person much quicker than a hater of a negative internet troll that would try to, you know, develop that of the art or science of dissing or being sarcastic to parlay it to quite a finesse. You understand what I'm saying? Oh, let me see who this is. Okay, as I was saying, I appreciate your comment. Just another hater coming off like a negative internet show. This one is making at least some kind of minimum, if not maximum, attempt to sound eloquent. Some user with the username of One-Eyed Monkey. He's been in my comment section before, and still, it is up to me to decide whether I want to silence one's chat or block one that much more altogether. Okay, and because I can get more than enough of any dime a dozen supposed so-called holier than thou's of modern day religious Pharisees and our Sadducees of self-appointed gurus, attempting to come at me. But if you're not saying anything that's worth listening to, if all you have a mind's intentions to do is to attempt to diss another, regardless of how you could possibly express yourself with some sort of such type of eloquence and or discretion, but you know, you're not really saying much of anything either. If a true believer in God can see past the smoke screens, okay? In due time, what is he saying in more words less? So let me paraphrase, not quote exactly. I'm just reading it for it now so I could give you all what you would call the Cliff Notes version, okay? Or the very basics. So where did you get that? From a poetry book of a religious nature or something? You know? So unless you're leaving some kind of info data or information as to what church that you are supposed to be affiliated, associated with, and are representing, then you haven't said anything but a word. Because usually a person that comes into somebody else's comment section for a channel or a chat room for a social media broadcast, and they don't leave any information as to who they are supposed to be associated with, who or what, and who or what they represent, then they're usually full of crap. Well, to put it mildly, I really want to say F and BS, but you know what I'm saying. And you see that name for my social media broadcast channel in our chat room. That's my real name, believe it or not. I could have changed it to something else. I did want to, but I left it as is. That's my real name. You hear? So getting back to this user with the username of One-Eyed Monkey, you ain't said nothing but a word. However said, that speaking correct, proper standard English grammar of American dialect or not. But then I do appreciate, I must admit though, the finesse or the rather eloquent way you had expressed yourself, regardless of how it's just a bunch of meaningless gobbledygook what you're saying. In my views and opinion, because it all go back to what I saying to back up what I had said. Unless you're giving me some kind of a name, an address, address, and or a telephone number, or whatever church you are supposed to be affiliated or associated with and representing to mouth up all this religiosity as some of us give a moment time in my comment section. This is all a bunch of just blah 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 gobbledygook, you know, that's not worth 2 cents. Just a bunch of crappy, no meaning, insignificant, irrelevant garbage or verbatim or rhetoric of just so much negativity All you're doing is just sugarcoating all that dissing that you're doing of me, and you don't know the first thing about me. I'm gonna tell you straight off the bat, point blank. Like right off. Prince of Peace continue to regulate my mind compared to Prince of Darkness. Just confuse my speech. If I were to have a church home, I would give it to anybody who wants to attend Somerset with me, but I don't, then because the majority of most churches out here, they're of the devil. Like the majority of most churchgoers or whatsoever religious denominations. So I yet to find that one true church in the sea of false churches. All the same, I have yet to find, what real or true believers like myself that I could that much more affiliate or associate myself with and be representing than how I am usually encountering, false brethren, false prophets, antichrist, uh, supposed so-called holier than thou's, like the user that it popped up in my comment section, coming off attempting to diss me when he should take a look in the mirror at himself. Yeah, I usually encounter false brethren, false prophet, or antichrist, and as it would be of the likes of the devil worshippers, the closet devil worshippers, being of whom represent the majority of churchgoers, whatsoever religious denominations. You know what I'm saying? Oh, yes, you are. Don't tell that lie. It's all in your words there. You come in here speaking of, I didn't ask you for your negative comments, Now he's claiming after a while, he's claiming he didn't diss me, I mean, just listen to some of these words, you all. Once I get up here, you all can see it for yourselves, I mean, wait a minute. I gotta find out how you do this here. Trying to scroll up, All right, here we go. Okay. Whereas he's coming in here saying stuff like, let me go to the very beginning, first of all. The mirrored Christ is the false Christ. Okay, I know that the mirrored Christ is the false Christ. That's nothing new. What are you saying? It's like he's when he's saying the mirrored Christ is the false Christ. And I tell him right there, straight off, he's coming in here, to make a comparison. Who are you comparing this mirrored Christ of a false Christ to? Are you speaking of me or somebody else or what? See? And then he gets to claiming he's not dissing me, Okay, he doesn't explain who he mean when he say that. Then he says, the sacrifice that cannot kill a God. Truth is what was sacrificed. Sacrifice they cannot kill it. I mean, is this your own words, or are you plagiarizing somebody else's poetry or prose of religious nature? Can you at least tell me that much, huh? If not, tell me what church you are supposed to be affiliated or associated with and representing. As I said, usually those who have something to hide, they're not trying to be more specific, give out. Like I already told you all from point blank. If I had a church home, I'd tell you. No, I don't have no qualms about that. But here, this guy, a fella coming here talking all this gobbledygook or religiosity, and yet he won't give me a name, an address, a telephone number, whatever church he's supposed to be affiliated, associated with, and representing, and where he feels that of this rather serious need to spool all this into my comment section, being so hypocritical. If you can't give a name, an address, and telephone number of a church where you supposed to be so inspired to share some of all these here religious whatever it's called with me, then why bother spooning it into my comment section? And I'm about to silence your chat, and then I may block you, depending on how fast I can remember the features to do just that, to orchestrate and initiate the mechanisms to do that, like I had done the last person. I think I did, unless I'm mistaken. Otherwise, I would have to review. There's one other hater of a negative internet troll by the username of and no need 1-8B for you, and here's this other user that more often than not seem to be other likes his kind. This user with the username of one-eyed monkey, but then the same person is saying things like let me see now as I read on. The compass is the spear of destiny to the true north. So you're saying I'm south of that or something? I mean, explain yourself. All I see is just negativity, talking about a false Christ. Man would be saying antichrist, and you're talking about how this is of the opposite and so forth. You're saying the proof of Babel. That's all you're doing is babbling, Okay, get to the point. Saying not dissing. Truth speaks for itself, and the truth is saying that you're dissing me. Okay. Then he said, this is the first time he's been here. I'm pretty sure I've seen him. And that's the same user. The same user with the same username in another previous or prior social media video of mine. I'm gonna review. I'm gonna look it up. Let's see, because his username sound familiar. And even if he were not, if I could possibly be mistaken, but I think not. But still, his words betray him, because he more than likely, more often than not, he more than seemed like one of my haters, one of these stalker negative internet trolls, because his words is speaking against him, Then he said, much luck, my spiritual brother. Now, what believer in God gonna say much luck, my spiritual brother? When believers in God do not go by luck, they go by blessings. See, his words betray him. See, I mean, what is hid in the dark gonna come to light? His words betray him, He just spoke against himself with that very sentence that he used. Much luck, my spiritual brother. Now what's up with that? That's dissing, and at the same time, if he's speaking on luck, who are you saying is going by luck, And why would you say something like that, Then blessing, blessing would be much more the appropriate word to use than luck, We must talk about, we can't put two opposites in the same sentence unless it comes out a contradiction of two opposites within that same sentence. Much luck, my spiritual brother. See, that's just like saying he's dissing. That's like two things meaning different. Like if you look at it from one point of view, not enough. If you said blessing is spiritual, that would lean more to the right, more to God. But he's saying luck and spiritual. That's speaking of contradictions, of confusion. So that's leaning more toward the devil. Y'all see what I'm saying? So why don't you just take a hike? All right, I'd appreciate it. Then, as he was saying, he wasn't dissing me before. Now, as I go down here, he says, sorry about that, something come out of my mouth. I was reading. He says, truth will be spoken with love. You are a negative person. I haven't dissed anything. You've been dissing me all along in the previous sentences of so much contradiction and confusion on your part. He said, not dissing. Truth speaks for itself. See, he says that. And then when you go down, he's saying that I'm a negative brother, Now, isn't that a contradiction? You all see what I'm saying? These are the haters I'm talking about that come into my chat room. I mean, to my comment section, talking a bunch of meaningless gobbledygook, telling on themselves. That's all they did was told on themselves. Speaking forth contradictions or confusion, Keep coming back. But then I do kind of appreciate the eloquence at first that you use, but then even so, after a while, a fool shall be known by the many words that one speak. If you're not of God, I'm gonna call you on your bull, your BS, your crap, You can call me what you will, because true or real brothers and sisters are going to be able to tell who is of us and who is not, and you are not of us. All right. User with the username of one-eyed monkey. But then the good book says something such passing that be that, one's enemy shall be one's own household. And I have a sister that you know grills me upon quite a regular basis with her negative unchristian, non-Christian text messages as someone that is not truly representing what a real true Christian sister or Christian woman is supposed to be. She coming off like a supposed so-called holier than thou or modern day religious Pharisee or Sadducee herself. So don't come in here with all that blah 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 blah. Blah, 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 blah. I had already explained to everybody. If you had been listening, I was speaking English. That if you had popped in here and if you had popped in at that given moment in time, we're speaking upon some of the matters, and of the American dialect. How I'm not feeling too well at the moment, but I'm not saying I'm not so much as because even as a prodigal son, I'm gonna speak more like clearly than you as an unsaved unbeliever, non-believer any day. So how much more if I were to feel more inspired to glorify our Lord and Savior Christ, Messiah, deliverer. But anyway, before I lose my train of thought, you all, so to speak, you see these kind of characters want to come into the social media broadcast and try to change the format. Because I was originally speaking on Liz Cheney, how she was dissed by, President Dotard, President Donald Dotard Trump, yeah. And I was just trying to, do a social media broadcast regardless of how I'm feeling at the moment, you all. And I'm sorry about the interruptions and how this user, by the username being some such as he or unless one is a she that go by one-eyed monkey coming here and and whereas kind of interrupted things, so to speak, but not so much as where I cannot get some control over my social media broadcast once again. But anyway, though, I'm sorry that I had permitted this character to take up quite a bit of you all's time to become a participant or view my broadcast, whoever, But anyway, I'm sorry for that, But hopefully next time I have much better control over my social media broadcast. And let's see, participants. Because this character is not. I'm gonna have to do something here. Let's see. Participant. Figure this out. Pop up chat. Let me see. Let's have to do it later. Okay.
I said I never drove a motorcycle, nor have you. We're really boring people. We are. What is the most exciting legal thing you've ever done? Legal. If you care to go out, we'll see you next time. So, goodbye.
Okay, restore chat back here. I'll figure this out some other time, y'all. Anyway, though, I was originally speaking upon how this here Liz Cheney, she got ousted from her position as a Republican representing that particular political party, and Donald Dotard Trump had got her ousted from the Republican Party, and so that was wrong of him to do so. But anyway, though, well, that's what characters are like this kind, they would go about with some such on their part, then because they don't like somebody else getting more of the limelight than them, whereas they want to carve a name for themselves in the world, and they don't like it when somebody else calls them on their crap, like this user. All of a sudden, I don't see any more one's comments. Okay, after one had come in here, and I had broke it down to y'all what he himself, or he or she, depending on whichever one's gender was trying to do. But seeing how this person has no more to say, you know, and maybe I can continue from where I left off, but then I kind of lost the mood. But so far as I was speaking originally on Liz Cheney being some kind of big wig in the Republican political party, and whereas she was saying, you know, how she don't think that President Donald Trump is qualified to represent a major cog in the great Republican Party political machine, and that she will see to it that he doesn't or don't have much of a chance to, you know, go about trying to cast his hat in the ring to make another attempt for a political campaigning bid for the presidency of the USA once again, as in for the White House after that ridiculous engineered scheme or scam of his of attempting to incite racist redneck radicals to overthrow our own supposed so-called democratic political democracy as we have in the USA by going to the extremes of voicing their opposition to the political process that had happened to elect a new president, and whereas they want to act as if they're going to, establish a whole different format for electing presidents. But then we know what the late fool of Nazi Germany had attempted to do in that same line of thought, and look where it got him. He ended up, taking his own life as in committed suicide in an underground bunker. He did that to prevent the Bolshevik Russians from getting a hold of him, because they was going to really make an example out of that cocksucker. Anyway, though, I'm going to close out because I'm not feeling too good with my sinuses bombing on. I'm having quite a bit of more difficulty breathing, some reason the allergies being as it is. And I'm just going to close out on this last note of interest and get back with you all later. And I hope that your person had at least enjoyed, if not better yet, I would hope that you had become much more educated or enlightened by what I was saying, that much more than just entertained. That's including my reprimanding this hater, that popped up in my comment section, attempting to diss me and then claim that one is not dissing me when the proof is in the pudding. But anyway, if you haven't gotten Christ as your own personal Lord and Savior, I will hope that you would think to do so now while the blood is still running warm in your vein, by recognizing or realizing what he himself had done or did upon the cross of Calvary on the hill of glory, suffering at the hands of some sort of Roman soldiers, up on the orders of their superiors, religious and or otherwise, of Pharisees and Sadducees and centurions, etc. But then, nevertheless, ways he went to that cross of Calvary to become a perfect sacrifice, the only sacrifice for you are, y'all, as well as for me, so that if any of us, being of whatsoever race and whatever walks of life, factions of society or lifestyle preferences, being an old, young alike, of both two sexual genders, of males and females, represent not only the human species, but then nevertheless the global community within this post 911 era of our new millennium, the apocalyptic day and age, where the doomsday clock is at a couple few minutes of midnight, compared on how formerly prior to then it was at a quarter midnight for these rather biblically prophetic time word to profess some such faith in, and from there we become and be blessed in one regard or another. More ways than one. First and foremost, for this salvation, being of which is the only means by which any of us can or could possibly hope to become citizens of the kingdom of heaven once we were to make that transition for the great beyond of the afterlife or hereafter. And then, second of all, whereas we would be blessed with that being of his deliverance. But first, you have got to get his salvation, being not just the much more, but the most important blessing, before you can be blessed in any regard. Otherwise, if you should leave this world without it, your final destination, once you were to cross on over to that other existence opposite of this one, will be that lake of fire, damn hell, with the rest of the unsaved, unbelievers, and unbelievers, being of whom you will be assembled with. To be tortured and terrorized by the devil and the demons forever, compared to how we as believing God, as Christians, aka Protestants, will be across that great divide that separates heaven from hell, among other like-minded believers in God, as in Christians, aka Protestants, and in the company or presence, however you say, the God and his angels for all eternity. Otherwise, you all take care and be safe. Be blessed, not stressed. Peace and love, joy and happiness. Now, I hope that each and every one of you, like I said before, so I said again, have gotten something out of what I was saying, and appreciate the social media broadcast or the video at hand, because I really had to force myself to compose this particular one here with my sinuses and allergies bother me quite a bit at the moment, and I'm not getting paid to do this here. You hear what I'm saying? Until I get my 4,000 subscribers, whereas until then, the majority of most of my social media broadcasts or videos will be mainly or mostly of a religious, supernatural, or spiritual content. Though at times I will give you a freebie of that being which is of a secular format, but not as often as I will speak upon some of such other matters, as I was saying, being the same of the said in question, the former previous prior mentioned, being that which is spiritual. You all take care and be safe. Be blessed, not stressed. Peace and love and joy happening. I'll let you later. Peace.